Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the general meeting of the Mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Winslow. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Almighty and eternal God, we pause at the beginning of this meeting to acknowledge thy mercies to us both as individuals and as a nation. We pray that our God as in this township meeting this night to the end, that all that discussed and acted upon make our township an area of goodness, human kindness, truth, and justice, a both part of our business and personal lives. Amen.
Ms. Doherty, may I have the roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Committeeman Borelli,
Present.
Flamini,
Here.
Leakis,
Present.
Lee,
Here.
Leverett,
Here.
Peoples,
Here.
Watkins,
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Mayor Lawrence.
Here. Other officials present are Joseph Gallagher, Township Administrator, Steve Dringus, Chief Financial Officer, Lisa L. Doherty, Municipal Clerk, Chris Norman, Acting Township Solicitor, Tim Bogine, Acting Municipal Engineer, Joe Mingle and Cindy Ayatola, Municipal Utilities Engineers, Police Chief Don Lemons, Deputy Police Chief Michael Rourke, Robert Stamelski, Emergency Management Coordinator, Lou Bowman, Superintendent Municipal Utilities, Sam Martello, Director, Department of Public Works, Fire Chief Mark Rigberg, Winslow Township Fire Department, Anthony Sarali, Winslow Township Fire District Commissioner, Christy Mazzatesta, Planning Board Secretary, Shirley Grasso, Planning Board Attorney, Tim Mead, Planning Board Chair, West ATCO 12, Joe Thomas, Winslow Township Board of Education. This meeting is being conducted in full compliance of the Open Public Meetings Law, and notices were sent to the Courier Post and the Hamilton Gazette and other news media. In addition, the notice was provided on the official bulletin board. This meeting is being electronically recorded. Please be aware, in the event of an emergency, all persons in the courtroom should exit the courtroom quickly and orderly using the two main doors in the courtroom and then locate the nearest exit to safety. In addition, all cell phones shall be turned off or placed on vibrate during township meeting. Please be aware, governing body meetings for 2026 are held the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month, with the exception of July, August, and December being the third Tuesday of the month, and November being the second Tuesday of the month. All residents are encouraged to attend all meetings. We'll start off with our announcements. Committeeman Flamini, would you read announcement 1?
Yes, Mayor. Winslow Township proclaims mandatory restrictions on the use of water for certain purposes. Even-numbered addresses can water on even-numbered days and odd-numbered addresses on odd-numbered days. Water usage is restricted to 5 to 7 a.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. Outside water usage is prohibited on the 31st day of the month. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Committeeman Wilson, would you read announcement 2?
Yes, Mayor. The 2026 spring leaf collection schedule continues as follows. Round 1, Ward 4 is April 27th through May 1st. Round 2 is Ward 1, May 4th through May 8th. Ward 2 is May 11th through May 15th. Ward 3 is May 18th through May 22nd. And Ward 4 is May 25th through May 29th. Leaves must be at curbside on Monday of your scheduled week for guaranteed collection. Leaves must be free from all other yard debris, including sticks, twigs, acorns, and trash. Also, please do not park any vehicles in front of or too close to the leaves during your week, or they will not be picked up. For more information, contact Department of Public Works at 609-567-0700, option 2, or visit our website at www.winslowtownship.com. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Committeeman Watkins, would you read announcement 3?
Yes, Mayor. Winslow Township announces that all general office will be closed Monday, May 25th, 2026, in observance of Memorial Day. Curbside trash and recycling materials normally picked up on Monday, May 25th, will be picked up on Tuesday, May 26th, and will continue to be picked up one day late until Saturday, May 30th. Your cooperation is sincerely appreciated. Thanks, Mayor.
Committeeman Peoples, would you read announcement 4?
Yes, Mayor. Winslow Township announces a Memorial Day service will be held at the Municipal Complex War Memorial on Monday, May 25th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Please join Winslow Township officials and veterans to honor those who served. A solemn ceremony dedicated to our fallen heroes. That's all.
Thank you. Committeeman Glickers, would you read announcement 5?
Yes, Mayor. Windsor Township Environmental Commission is hosting a Green Fair shredding event on Saturday, May 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Windsor Township Municipal Complex. Join us for a day of learning, activities, and of course, our shredder trucks. Residents only, no businesses, please. Rain or shine, the event will be going on. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Committeewoman Lee, would you read announcement 6?
Yes, Mayor. Winslow Township Litter Cleanup Day will be held on Saturday, May 2nd, from 9 a.m. to noon. Let's work together to keep our streets and neighborhoods free from litter and full of life. Meetup locations for bags and grabbers will be at the Winslow Shopping Center, 510 Williamstown Road, Sicklerville. For more information, you can find it on the website at www.winslowtownship.com. Thank you.
Thank you. I have some items of interest I need to let you know about. The township bond rating remains at AA-. This is very important and something I'm very glad to be able to report. Our CFO, Steve Dringers, will be explaining it further on a recent report that we got from Standard & Poor's. Verizon is out taking care of the poles on the side of the roundabout, which is one of the final steps before the major county roundabout project work begins. Sicklerville Road is now striped in one section, with the remaining portion to be done up to the roundabout soon. The remaining portion of New Brooklyn Road is getting paved. I would like to thank Camden County for getting that completed. Camden County has a summer program, and they are seeking student interns. The township would love to see some of our amazing students be part of this program. Mays Landing Road is still in the process of being completely paved, but should be wrapped up shortly. The township's first pickleball courts are being installed at David Ilyich Park behind Cherryland Woods. This is a very fun addition to our township parks. The job fair and expungement seminar events held this past Saturday was a great success. I was happy to see many residents come out, and I was especially proud of our youth from Winslow who came prepared with resumes and ready to get an interview. On tonight's agenda is a resolution for the Flashing Beacon Crosswalk and signage along Ariel Road in the area of Jake's Place. This is a shared service agreement with the county and will be a great safety addition to the area. Winslow Township received a grant for the upcoming Painting in the Park series being held this summer. This series is for residents of all ages and all skill levels. Stay tuned for further details. The Township Board of Health held a utility assistance program that was held here last week in the courtroom, and 100 people were able to stop by and get information, grants, on whatever from the various utility companies. Another event is planned for the fall, so please stay tuned. And something that you may not be aware of, Catholic charities can sometimes assist those in needing of help with utilities or even rent. There are parameters that you must show that you can sustain it after a one-time assistance, and their number is 856-342-4100. The clerk's office will have this information if you need it. Thank you. We have claims. A list of claims has been submitted for Treasury for approval, and individual vouchers were available. May I have a motion to
Motion,
approve?
Committeeman Watkins.
Can I have a second?
Second, Committeeman Wilson.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We have an ordinance of the Township of Winslow, County of Camden, and the State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 276, Article 8 of the Code of the Township of Winslow, entitled Speed Limits, and that's for reducing speed limit on New Brooklyn Ariel Road. May I have a motion to introduce this
Motion
ordinance?
to introduce.
Second, Committeeman Gleekus.
Any questions on this motion? May I have a roll call, please, Ms. Doherty?
Yes, Committeeman Borelli?
Yes.
Flamini?
Yes.
Lekus?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Leverett?
Yes.
Peoples?
Yes.
Watkins?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Lawrence?
Yes. Second reading of ordinance. We have an ordinance of the Township of Winslow, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 276, Article 8 of the Code of the Township of Winslow, entitled Speed Limits, and it's specifically reducing speed limits on various roadways in West Atco. I will now open the hearing to the public. Is there anyone who wishes to address the governing body regarding this ordinance? Hearing none and seeing none, I will now close the public hearing. May I have a motion to adopt this
Motion to
ordinance?
adopt.
Second,
Committeeman Watkins.
Committeeman Gleekus.
Any questions on the motion? May I have a roll call, please?
Committeeman Borelli?
Yes.
Flamini?
Yes.
Lekus?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Leverett?
Yes.
Peoples?
Yes.
Watkins?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Lawrence?
Yes. We have another ordinance of the Township of Winslow, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 276, Article 8 of the Code of the Township of Winslow entitled Speed Limits, reducing speed limit on Landing Road. I will now open the hearing to the public. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the governing body regarding this ordinance? Hearing none and seeing none, I will now close the hearing to the public. May I have a motion to adopt this ordinance?
Motion to adopt.
Second,
Watkins.
Committeeman Gleekus.
Any questions on the motion? May I have a roll call, please?
Freeman Borelli?
Yes.
Famini?
Yes.
Gleekus?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Leverett?
Yes.
Peoples?
Yes.
Watkins?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Lawrence?
Yes. We have an ordinance of the Township of Winslow, County of Camden, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 276, Article 8 of the Code of the Township of Winslow entitled Speed Limits, reducing speed limit on Stevens Avenue. We'll now have a hearing. I will now open the hearing to the public. Is there anyone who wishes to address the governing body regarding this ordinance? Hearing none and seeing none, I will now close the hearing to the public. May I have a motion to
Motion
adopt?
to adopt.
May I have a second?
Second, Committeeman Gleekus.
Any questions on the motion? May I have a roll call, please?
Freeman Borelli?
Yes.
Famini?
Yes.
Gleekus?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Leverett?
Yes.
Peoples?
Yes.
Watkins?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Lawrence?
Yes. We have 9 resolutions. Are there any that anyone wishes to withdraw from the block vote?
Yes, Mayor, can I have number 1, please?
Number 8 as well, Mayor.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 2 through 7 and 9?
Motion, Committeeman Watkins.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution number 1, authorizing the Township of Winslow to enter into and execute a shared services agreement with the County of Camden for flashing pedestrian crosswalk signage at New Brooklyn Park. And for your information, this is in the area of Jake's Place. Can I get a motion to
Motion,
approve?
Committeeman Watkins.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have a resolution approving and authorizing execution of a developer's agreement with Patino Solar LLC. May I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Committeeman Watkins.
May I have a second?
Second, Committeeman Wilson.
Questions on the motion?
Can we just get a brief explanation for the residents?
I believe that project was actually a pre-COVID project that was brought before, and that would be on the location of the old Owens Corning's landfill, which is behind the Hanson Aggregates there in Penn Bryn. And what they want to do is put a solar field for, originally they wanted to do a community solar project, so we'll be going before the planning board as well to see what particulars that they were going to do and how they're going to be on the grid.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have 2 public building and grounds applications. May I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Committeeman
Second,
Gleekus.
Committeeman Watkins.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have 2 business licenses. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion, Committeeman
Second.
Watkins.
Committeeman Borelli.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Before we get into public participation, Mr. Gallagher has something he needs to present.
If I may. Here in the Township, Mayor and Committee, we have a very active safety committee for all of our employees through the Camden County Joint Insurance Fund. And for this year, they awarded Winslow Township with the recognition of your outstanding efforts promoting and upholding safety and standard presented to Winslow Township April 1st, 2026, and which we had a reduction in 15% of lost time accidents here in
That's great.
Township. And I'd just like to thank the Safety Committee and the Police Department, the Fire Department, EMS, Administration Office, and each member of each department. We all have bi-monthly meetings. We get together and talk about, lost time, what accidents, any kind of property damage, any kind of workman's comp types issues that we go over in safety. We did training this year for active shooting for each office. We put equipment in each office. So I'd just like to thank every office and all the agencies for their cooperation and giving Winslow Township this award. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to all. We appreciate it. Before we get into public participation, I've asked our planning board chair and our planning board attorney to come before us tonight because there's so much misinformation going around. People don't understand the processes. A lot of misguided assumptions are made. So I've asked them to come and make a presentation to those of you that are here tonight so you can get an understanding of this whole process that we're dealing with when it comes to the new buildings coming into town. So, Mr. Mead and Shirley.
Good evening, everybody. Fantastic that there's members of the committee and everybody hear me?
No, you need the mic.
So, my name is Tim Mead. I've been a resident of Winslow for, gosh, it's going on 26 years. I've been on the board for about the past 23 years. I submitted a community request to serve the community when Mayor Metzner was here. And that is the process for getting involved in the community. There are currently 10 members and 2 alternates that serve, volunteer on the planning board. Now, what we have to do is we have to take a course and everything. So what our responsibility is to make sure that an applicant is complying with the master plan and the municipal land use laws that are set forth by the state. So what happens is 10 years ago, there was a master plan that was done in conjunction with the regional growth area directives that are set forth by the county and by the state. And we have another component in Winslow with the Pinelands. So a lot of people think that there's autonomy, that municipalities have a complete autonomy, when in reality they really don't. They have to work within the confines and the restrictions that the county sets forth, the state sets forth, and the Pinelands Commission. So with Winslow Township being a large portion of the Pinelands, that takes our regional growth area to certain areas. So essentially, we're putting 10 gallons in a 5-gallon pot. 10 years ago, when the master plan was done, farmers put their land up for sale. There was no development in Winslow 10 years ago. And everybody was like, why isn't there anything coming into Winslow? The economy, everything else. So developers, when that master plan changed the zoning of the farmer's ground from agricultural to whatever that was set forth within the master plan of the township for development. A developer came in, bought it, they sat on the ground. Well, times changed, 10 years later, 15 years later, economies have changed. Through gentrification, there's communities that are changing and being pushed into different areas within the state and within the county. Now, we're seeing the results of the master plan that happened 10 years prior. So what happens is if an applicant comes in and the ground is zoned for that use, whether it be high density, low density, whatever, as long as that application is compliant with the municipal land use laws that the planning board makes sure that it is, and is in line with the master plan, legally, the planning board has no jurisdiction to deny that application. People ask, well, why can't we change the zoning? If we change the zoning after the developer has already purchased that ground, it's called spot zoning, and that is illegal. The town will get sued. If the planning board denies the application, if an applicant comes in and says, we want to do X, Y, and Z, the members of the board don't like it, they don't like Z. We deny it, the applicant can sue the town. We will lose, because as long as the applicant is following the applications of the municipal land use law and the master plan, the planning board loses any leverage that it has in regards to asking and requesting specific items from the developer, i.e., if there's an apartment community or townhouse community, the applicant will come in with bare bones. And we'll say, well, we want tot lots. We want sidewalks. We want, they submit, we want 10 trees. We say we want 30 trees. They come in with a bare architecture plan. We want more architecture to add more community aesthetic to the buildings and to the project. If we deny it, they sue, we lose, and we lose all ground on anything that we request. Is it fair? Is it right? No. But that is the law. We cannot change the law, unfortunately. Again, I've been on for 10 years. You can blame me. I didn't have a crystal ball 10 years ago. If I would have thought that all this would be coming to fruition right now, I'd look at myself 10 years ago and say, dude, I got to slow down. But then with that, there's also the component that the state and the county has regional growth areas that municipalities have to follow. And if they don't, then the counties and the state will withhold funding. Hands are tied. So that's a quick, I think I covered the A to Z of it. Anybody have any questions? I do. Yes, please, come on up. Do they have to state their name and their address for the record?
Yeah.
If you could, just come on up, state your name and your address just for the record, please.
Good. How are you? Living the dream. And Joe Thomas, 16 Pinewood Lane. And I just have a question. Quite frankly, I'm not against the building of the houses. I think there should be a CBA involved when you do this type of thing, so I'm not here to go against it, but I am here to ask you a question as far as the process. So when you have a master plan, how long is that master plan in existence?
Good question. 10 years.
So
We are working on a new one now.
So, and also with that, when you have a master plan and can you or can you not do amendments to that master plan?
So there's amendments that can be done if there's an area that's deemed as an area in need of redevelopment.
Which in this case, it is.
Which on the property that I'm assuming that you're.
The pink elephant, right, so it is,
And
so
that
in
was-
this case, it is.
That was deemed an area of redevelopment.
So, and when you do that, you could pass an ordinance to kind of tell what the zoning is for that particular parcel.
So we don't have
I'm
that.
I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question.
My name is Shirley Grasso, and
You got it for me.
so I met you, I guess about 2 years ago here in Winslow Township, and you came up to me and said, "I'm Winslow Joe," and I said, "Well, I'm Winslow Shirley." Do you remember that
I
conversation?
think I gave you a pin or something.
You went to your car. No.
In this field.
You went to your car and you got me a T-shirt.
Yeah, so I'm for the town, no doubt about it. I'm not even, once again, I'm actually for the building. I just think we
Yeah.
should have a CBA.
So-
But in this process, the fact that what he said is,
Okay.
you have a master plan that
Yes.
needs to be addressed. It's a little old,
So-
but it needs to be addressed, and you
Okay.
can make amendments to it.
So let me tell you
with
why.
zoning ordinance.
Okay, let me tell you why zoning ordinances are so important. If we're not allowed, Mr. Meaden, and he sounded like a lawyer, and 23 years up there, he got all my lines. I'm saying to myself, gee, forgive my back, Mayor, is it okay if I address the
Go ahead.
residents? But he sounded more like a lawyer than I did, and I sat there and I said, now what am I going to say? But anyway, so these zoning ordinances, developers will come before Winslow Township, and their zoning is their zoning, and that zoning belongs to that property. So whether it's a farmer or a rich developer, that zoning for that 10-year period belongs there. Now, let's say that zoning is you can build all these apartments and you can do X, Y, Z, and Winslow says, hey, we don't want a whole bunch of apartments. We'd rather see some single-family dwellings there, and this is what we'll do for you in exchange. So when Winslow looks at this, we say, pick your poison. Would you rather have a bunch of apartments, or would you rather have a community that you live next to that's going to be better for Winslow? So when you see these redevelopment areas, it's because Winslow, they're listening to you. They are trying to buy down some of these rights that these developers have. And trust me, your voice is loud and clear. For many years, I sat up on the board. Nobody showed up to the planning board meetings. They wanted the projects. We didn't have a lot of money here in Winslow. We wanted to fix municipal improvements. We wanted to improve our parks. We wanted to have better schools for the kids. We wanted developments, okay? Winslow wanted that. And the reason why we wanted that is We wanted our kids to do better so that our kids could graduate from Winslow 1, graduate from Edgewood, and be a lawyer someday. And you're talking to somebody who graduated from Winslow 1, graduated from Edgewood, and is standing here before you. Your voices are loud and clear. The mayor has given me direction 2 years ago when we hired that planner. We gave specific instructions. You are to look at this master plan, and you are to slow down that development in Sicklerville. That was 2 years ago. She's 2 years into the project, okay? It's not finished yet. It takes them, these planners, you know, they got to study this, they got to study that, they got to charge you a lot of money, and then you get a finished product. And then it comes to Winslow, and then we all got to talk about it and see where we can make it better. But remember, if you got a farmer in Sicklerville, and that farmer owns a piece of property, we can't go up to them and just say, you don't get to develop your houses anymore. You got to watch what you do with the master plan, or we're going to get sued. And who's going to win is the lawyers. The lawyers are going to make all the money, your taxes are going to go up, and we're going to be back where we started from. So we got to be smarter than them in Winslow. What your developers have a lot of, and we don't, is a lot of money. The developers have the money. They come before us, the planning board, and they're trying to kick ass, okay? And we're trying to hold our ground. They're in the planning board world. The standard of review for a C variance is, does the benefit to the community outweigh the detriment? Well, if I don't have residents at that meeting saying, hey, I live 15 feet away, I live 300 feet away, and this is a detriment to me because I'm going to hear this noise and I'm going to hear the trash trucks going in and out, and this is going to damage my community. If we don't have that at the meetings, you can't do much because they'll appeal what we do. And if they appeal it, not only do you lose, you got to pay their legal fees. So we don't want to be stupid about this. We want to be smart. What we want to start looking at is, A, the master plan. The mayor put that into motion 2 years ago, okay? This is not new information. This is old information. We knew there was a problem in Sicklerville. We don't own the streets in Sicklerville, okay? The streets are predominantly owned by the county of Camden. They make the decisions about the roadways. We beg, we plead, and we try to get a lot done. But Winslow, the truth of the matter is the bulk of the streets in Winslow Township are owned by the county of Camden. They've got the bigger money. They've got more money than what Winslow has, and they're calling the shots. So what we're trying to do is listen to your voices. We're looking at buffer areas. This guy's an arborist. How many trees do you have to put in to buffer the sounds from the residential? Don't give up that 50-foot buffer. We had a man a couple of weeks ago at a planning board meeting saying, why are you giving up your buffers? Well, before, 10 years ago maybe, we were trying to get developments in Winslow. We wanted more money for the schools. We had a lot of kids. You put up more rooftops and you collect more revenue for your township, which helps out your school. At this point in time, we're trying to slow that process again. But again, the developer owns that property. You can't strip them of their rights. We're not going to get away with it. What we can do is try to slow it down. And it's people like you who show up at meetings, who really stop what you don't want. They heard you loud and clear about Ancora, and they're hearing you loud and clear about Sicklerville. But Sicklerville, please understand, This has been in the works. We've been working on this for 2 years. Christy can talk to you about her conversations with the planner. We're trying to do everything that's legally possible to slow down some of this development in Sicklerville. The other parts of Winslow Township, it's pine lands. You can't build a house if you wanted to. I mean, you know, that pine lands just controls all of that. So now, Mr. Thomas, I don't know if I answered your question. Did I?
You didn't, because I changed the subject
Yes.
that you talked about. Let's talk about the school district right quick, how good we doing. You talked about raising our kids, and we you know we're doing good with the back-to-back championships. Our girls' track just went down to the pin relays and rewrote the whole record books. We just have a student who just made the National Merit Finalist, which puts you 1% of all students in the nation, and she made it as a finalist. We're still in need of having your governing body come collaborate with our school board, because we just approved to start a 5-year strategic plan, and we need your input to move that forward. Tomorrow, we're going to be putting out our budget. Come be a part of that. Planning board to come be a part of the budget we're trying to do over there. But we even had one of the pristine schools in New Jersey come get our coach hired at their school so they can get some Winslow culture into their environment. So your district is doing it. Come out, be a part of it. We invite you to the board meeting. We're doing the budget. The budget is somewhere around $135 million. It's your biggest budget, but it's your biggest investment, and it should be into our kids. So come out and be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on 1 second. Chrissy's getting head up, and she's gonna come up and give a little, because she's the planning board secretary and zoning, and she's a lot more articulate than me.
Good evening, everybody. All right, so I just wanted to take tonight to kind of talk to everybody about what goes on behind the scenes that is not always out in the public. I'm not only the planning board secretary, I'm also the assistant zoning officer. So the first line of defense is that zoning officer that gets a call and, you know, asks if their project is permitted or allowed on that property. That's when our staff looks at the ordinances, we look at what's permitted, and we say, yes, you're going to the planning board, or no, you're going to the zoning board. Zoning board is a big difference. The zoning board is the only jurisdictional board that has the power to grant what's called a D variance. So if you want to build apartments on a commercial property that's not zoned as such, no matter what, you're going to the zoning board. The planning board, if it was allowed to have apartments, you know, they'd proceed with site plan approval. That's when we'd beat them up with the buffers and the tot lots. Centralized trash is something we ask for, we don't always get. But that's our shot to kind of hold their feet to the fire, I believe, as was said. Prior to them making the board application, they usually set up an informal concept review where staff, administration, as well as our professionals all meet with the applicant, and we kind of tell them what we're looking for, you know, and we kind of do that by experience, just what comes into the office. Last year, we got an inquiry about a mental health facility. So this year, we passed an ordinance prohibiting them within a certain amount of feet of daycare uses and schools and such. So I just wanted to say that, you know, the staff is in the background looking at these things every single day, and that's why the master plan is so important. Master plan started, I think, originally in 1986. It might even have been before that, but that's when they started looking at the future. At one point in time, we had a train station, a terminal proposed for here. I don't know if anybody knows that, but I found out by reading a really old master plan. So there's a lot of information in there that you have to kind of read every master plan to get to the end and final story, and that's where we are today. So last master plan was 2019. Pinelands took 3 years to approve it. It got adopted in 2022, and prior to that, the last time Sicklerville was looked at was in 2016. So that's almost 20 years ago, 2006, I'm sorry. So I just wanted to explain to you the process behind the scenes, and I want you to know that the staff is there to answer your questions. At our planning board meetings, I'm happy to pass out cards. Any questions you have about a requested buffer or a requested variance. We're here to answer those questions, not to get the information from other outlets and maybe run with something that's not the truth. I just want to encourage the residents to reach out to the staff, the people that deal with it every day. And we're happy to be here, happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Okay.
I just want to say one more thing. I like hearing myself talk.
So another thing is like the planning board. The township pays for the planning board to have their own engineer, planning engineer, and traffic engineer. So it's just not a bunch of volunteers that are sitting up there saying yes, 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 no, 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 why. When the applicant submits their application, there's banter between their engineer and our engineer, and then we get to chime in and question their engineer and our engineer. The traffic study, same thing. The problem is that if it's a community that abuts into a county road, our traffic engineer will look at the cartways within the community that will accommodate for a trash truck and, God forbid, a fire engine or an ambulance or police or whatever. So, an applicant will come in and they'll want parking on both sides. And we're like, no, there needs to be, parking on one side. A lot of the townhouses and the apartment communities that are being built, they operate under an HOA. So if you drive through and you see cars parked on both sides and everything, an HOA is a homeowners association that operates and manages itself outside of the regulations that are set forth by the town. So the HOA is responsible for enforcing the parking. So if there are people that are double parking, it's HOA's job to go through and either get those vehicles towed, ticketed, or notify the homeowners. It's outside the confines of the police department. Yes.
So there is a process that Winslow has that even though it's an homeowners association, we have a 5A application through the police department. So on-site traffic enforcement can occur in the HOA. And that is before they go with their development agreement, we force them to go to the police department to submit that application to see if the police department wants to submit for on-site traffic enforcement. That's up to the Winslow Township Police Department. And before every development is signed off on, the PD has to either say yes or no to that issue.
See, it's not a wasted day. I just learned something. Thank you. See, that's why she makes me look good. The other thing is like, people, when we've had applicants that will come up and they'll say, well, all these houses, the schools, and everything else. The state sets the pupils per school district. So we don't have the planning board has no jurisdiction over that. We can't say just because if the community is going to have 300 kids, if the data by the state says that this is the amount that is expected to be put into the school district, then we cannot deny an application. So, anybody? Yes, sure.
I have a question.
Sir, if you can, just come on up, state your name and your address just for the record.
Jim Callahan, 10 Stafford Place in Sicklerville. My question is, you had said that you want these developers to come in because you want them to build these houses, and it's going to help the community by increasing the revenue that the township collects. But how does the tax abatement fit into that scenario? Especially when it's like a 30-year tax abatement.
So let me clarify that. 10 years ago, we wanted the development. Today, I don't think anybody wants to see one more house in Sicklerville. I don't think we want to see that today. I mean, that was the old thought process. But the tax abatement ordinances can be very beneficial to a town, because when a developer pays a payment in lieu of taxation, Winslow gets to keep that money. It's usually for a 5-year period, and it's usually done on commercial properties. We still want commercial ratables. We want things like Walgreens and McDonald's and those kind of things that we all enjoy. But one more house, I mean, Who wants one more house? This is a rural community. We don't want to see it like Philadelphia. You know, my kid lives in Manhattan. Every Monday I go babysit. To drive through the streets, to go 1 mile, it takes me like 45 minutes. We don't want that for Winslow. So I didn't, maybe what I said 10 years ago, we wanted it, but certainly not today. You know, you want to be able to go to Texas Roadhouse without sitting in traffic. You want to be in a rural community. I think we all want that. But the tax abatement issue could be very good for the town, because the town, usually for a 5-year period, if you get a payment in lieu of taxes, the town keeps all that money, and we don't pay Camden County. So Camden County loses and we win. So, well, that depends.
Solicitor Grasso, may I?
Well, now, I'm not the town solicitor. I'm the planning board solicitor.
Planning Solicitor Grasso.
So,
May I?
where are you? Oh.
Yes.
Brandon, I didn't see it.
I
Sorry.
believe the individual is referring to a variety of tax abated agreements that may be between the years of 5 to 30 years or 5 to 35 years, along with pilot programs. Those programs, though, are adopted by the governing body and not by the planning board.
Correct.
This governing body is the body that has the authority to approve or deny or approve for a variety of years. It is not the planning board's responsibility.
Right,
It is
no, we-
incumbent upon the 9 members of this governing body. And that takes time. However, it's the authority of this governing body. So those types of questions will be more geared towards this board
But
than a planning board.
We do have, in every resolution that's adopted in Winslow Township, we have a provision that, in our resolution, that says, the Township of Winslow has a tax abatement ordinance. You're free to look at, and every town has that. It's not just Winslow. Every town has it. You're to conduct, you know, your own research about that issue, and that is, you have to go to the governing body for a tax abatement. I'm just telling you that normally towns, the reason why towns want that is because Winslow gets more money in our pockets, and we don't have to pay Camden County. Okay?
I mean, you're saying 5 years, but I'm hearing 30 years.
Well, okay, so that kind of a question is, you would have to actually do an Oprah request for all tax abatement approvals, because that's like on a case-by-case basis, but they have to comply with the township ordinance. And Christie could give you a copy of that ordinance for tax abatements. It's right on the website. You go under Winslow Coded Systems, and you just plug in the term abatement, and we have to comply. Every developer would have to comply with the Winslow ordinance. So that's nothing hidden. It's just any resident could research that on their own without even doing an Oprah request.
They can change that by passing an ordinance.
No, the ordinance is the ordinance. So think of it as the law. Your ordinance on a local level is like the state has a state law. Towns don't have state laws, they have local ordinances. So every tax abatement that gets approved must comply with our local ordinance. That's our Bible, so to speak. And that's right on your website. You go on Winslow Township Coded Systems, and you plug in the word, you search for the word abatement, and that ordinance pops right up. And they're not allowed to deviate from that. They have to stick to the ordinance, because otherwise, you're not allowed to discriminate. Like, I'm Shirley Grasso, I can't pay a different tax bill than my neighbor. You know, as long as the assessed value is the assessed value, we all pay the same rate. It's just like the abatement. Everybody gotta abide by the same ordinance. Winslow can't say, oh, we like this developer better than that developer, and we're going to give more preferential. It doesn't work like that.
Okay, well, that
Okay?
just sounds
Yeah, but it's not. That's not true. And what we're here today is to give you the truth. And I can tell you this, I can bet my career on it, they have to abide by the ordinance. Otherwise, just put me in the cell. Lock me up and put me in the cell right next to, all right. Who's next? What other questions do we have? Can we?
I have a question.
Yes.
So my name is Chris Williams from Devonshire Court, and we met at the planning board meeting, which I'm glad I attended. It was very informative, all of you. So now you have a bunch of people who are frustrated about the current building that's going on. We've presented this multiple times to the township, different responses, depending on who the person is that answers it, but everything points to the planning board. We go to the planning board and we get this, the 10-year plan. But the 10-year plan has been being developed or updated for the last 2 years, according to what you're just saying. So now the residents are still upset about all the planning. They find out more planning or more building or potential building that's going on. So now this whole thing is snowballing. But the plan is being updated for the last 2 years. How long does it take to update a plan? Who's involved with updating the plan? Are they professionals, or is it just you guys? Hold on, let me finish. And
It's a professional plan. Okay, so let me just answer that real quick, okay? Because you were so well-spoken at the last planning board meeting. I just loved it. I left and I said, man, who is that guy? Okay, so you hire a professional planner. Although I'm a lawyer, I can't do the professional planning because I don't have the license to do that. It's like an engineer. You got to have the license. The professional planners have to have the license, okay? And the reason why it takes a couple years is we have Winslow's master plan is about this thing, right here. If you take our master plans and you print it out, it's literally this thing. So, the professional planners you hire over all the years, the girls change. The current girl, her name is Mika, and she's got to read that stuff because every plan builds on the last. So she's got to come up with the appropriate recommendations from a professional planning, and she's got to consider a bunch of other stuff, Pinelands area, non-Pinelands area. Yeah, it could take her 2 years. I mean, she doesn't work on it every day. And Christy, she has meetings with the township as the time goes on. We keep giving her directions, but she doesn't have a draft yet to us. And then once we get it, it's got to go to Pinelands, and then they could take 3 years. So it's a process, and yeah, it takes a while. And remember, even though you change the master plan, you can't just strip these developers of their rights. It doesn't work that way. There's courts of law. People sue you if you do that. You need a reasonable basis. And, the answer, the streets are terrible, that's not a good answer. So then the judge is going to say, well, Ms. Grasso, isn't that Camden County's problem to upgrade the streets? Why don't you just sue Camden County? So when you start stripping people of developmental rights, you've got to start thinking, A, am I ready to be sued? B, am I ready to lose? And C, how can I pick my poison? That's what you have to do. Maybe high density's got to go to medium density. Maybe medium density's got to go to low density for a period of time until the roadways can be upgraded. But we can't do something crazy. we can't get this township into lawsuits that we can't win. You know, I don't want to see that happen. I don't think you want to see that happen. Now, I interrupted you. Your turn to interrupt me.
But you talk so well, though, I gotta tell you.
You're going back and forth.
So if you get an area like the field behind Royal Farms that's going to be developed with apartments, 10 years ago, that was developed, you're shaking your head like you're unhappy that it was.
I'm a farmer's daughter.
Right, so you don't want any farm developed.
That gets developed is like a dagger in my heart.
Understand?
I mean, I live on it.
So, but that farm it's going to happen behind Royal Farms on Johnson Road, 10 years ago, that was rezoned from agriculture? Yep. I love all this.
Yeah, get it, Christie.
All right, so there is a development plan that goes before the planning board and zoning board, and then there's a redevelopment plan, which is very different. A redevelopment plan adopts an overlay zone. It says what the developer's trying to do is a permitted use if they fit into X, Y, and Z. As long as they develop a plan that matches that plan, they go to the planning board. So this case, this property, the Johnson Road Apartments, is a redevelopment plan, meaning the by right zoning did not allow it. The redevelopment plan allowed it, and then that's when it breaks into the local redevelopment and housing law, which I understand there's different abatements out there that fit under that use, and that's what, these projects go through for approval. So there's a big difference between redevelopment versus development.
Okay. What about Stickleville Road, the potato farm?
The Royal Ridge project
Yes.
was a failed redevelopment, for lack of better words, and it now went before the planning board for a by right application where, like Mr. Mead said,
Which I got to answer.
Royal Ridge.
That's not. So we would have been better off with the redevelopment plan, but the residents shot that down. And that's why I said you got to pick your poison. Because they came back to us and it was a by right subdivision. They got more with the by right subdivision than they would have got through that redevelopment plan. We have to be smart about this. We want to give the residents what they want, but we also want to make you understand that we have to do it wisely. And we don't want to see one more house either. But if they have rights, what are we going to do about that? So if we don't give them the redevelopment plan, they just rub it in our faces. Oh, that's fine. Now we'll come in with a by right subdivision. And you know what? We're going to swallow that one. Because sometimes you use your best efforts, but if you can't strike your deal and make all your residents your neighbors, you're our neighbors. And we don't ever forget that. So when you come here and you say, we don't want this, Rizzo usually gives the residents what they want, but we can't be stupid about it either. We have to look at what are the consequences, the long-term consequences. Are we faced with a lawsuit? Are we faced with a worse development than we would have had if we had given them the redevelopment plan? So you're the neighbors, and ultimately your voice is going to control. But our job is to tell you what the consequences are of these actions. And a lot of times it's a really hard pill to swallow. But we live here too, as does every member of that board, Republican or Democrat. They all, Republican or Democrat, they all want what's best for Winslow. And the question is, how do we serve you best? We don't want to piss you off, but we don't want to do something stupid that we're going to learn to regret 3 or 4 or 5 years down the line. So, we use our best, we do the best, we do, my father used to say, baby, because he called me that till the day he died, baby, you do the best with what God gave you. And I can promise you this, I do the best with what I have. I'm not the smartest cookie in the box, but I'm not the dumbest one either. And every member of that board, Republican, Democrat, you guys up there, listen, I've heard you, you all love the same thing, your people. And your people are sitting right here. And I want you to know, if I can use my position to help you folks, that's exactly what we want to do, okay? And if the planning board meetings, come out, talk to us about these applications, because in order for us to build a record, if there's a big development going through and I don't have any residents in the audience, how am I going to justify to a judge, oh, this was against the public interest? The judge is going to say, well, Ms. Grasso, how many members of the public were out there? I'm going to say, well, Your Honor, they weren't, it was a snow day, or it was a graduation day, or make up some reason. But the bottom line is, you got to keep getting involved, and please don't think those folks up there don't hear what you're saying, because they do.
Ms. Grasso, if I could I add something? That property on Williamstown Road that is in so much discussion, there were concept plans brought before us that could have been 250 apartments. The first concept plan was a marijuana grow facility. So we decided that for us to be in control of that property, we needed to do this redevelopment ordinance. That gives us more power. As yet, there is no plan before the planning board. So all the discussion about 108 apartments, commercial, whatever it's going to be, that's not before the planning board yet. We haven't seen anything outside of a concept plan. So again, this is a lot of conjecture. We asked our planning board professional, Ms. Grasso, Tim Mead, our planning board chair, and Christie, our assistant zoning officer, to come before you and just explain some of the things that we look for and we have to adhere to. One thing that they didn't say is the municipal utilities, or municipal land use law Bible that we all have to go to, this thick. It's this thick. And believe me, if you don't adhere to it, as Ms. Grasso said, we wind up in court. And 99% of the time, we're going to lose.
I think it's fair to say, which I brought up each time that I came up here and spoke about the building, that it's a bipartisan issue. I've said that. Republican or Democrats are yelling about the building. So that's where I'm at with the whole thing. I mean, at some point, it's got to stop. I mean, I come out of my development, go down Sicklerville Road, to come here tonight, and just past Blue Anchor, I look at the farms on both sides, and how long till that's developed, you know?
And again, we don't have any say over that. If a farmer wants to sell his land, he's going to sell
No,
it.
but according to what I'm just hearing up there, I mean, if this master plan gets updated.
If somebody buys that land today, the zoning's in place.
Right.
Again, as Mr. Mead said, if it got rezoned after the purchase, we're going to court, because you can't do that, spot zoning. It's illegal. So that's why we're trying to get the master plan done in
So
an
what-
expeditious manner.
So what could the master plan, once it's updated, do to, let's just say that going down towards 73, down Sicklerville Road, those farms on both sides, I don't know who owns them. If nobody builds on it, what could the master plan do? How would it be rezoned? Can it go back to agriculture, or?
We don't know. That's what the planner does. They look at that and say, does it make sense for it to be agriculture? Does it make sense for it to be low-density housing? We don't know that. That's what she's working on. Once she gets a draft together, as Ms. Grasso and Christie said, it comes to Christie's office. They'll sit, go over it, they'll pull it apart to see, what makes sense, going back to the old master plans and moving forward to today. So it's a process. We don't know what that plan's going to encompass yet. It's got to go through the process. Once it gets to a point where it's a draft, the planning board will get a look at it, and then we can take a chance to look at it, take it apart, see if it makes sense, make the recommendations back. Again, it's a long process. We don't want it to be, but it's got to be thoughtfully done so that we don't walk into lawsuits that we can't afford.
If I may interject, I have a couple like informational questions, I would like to direct to the chairman of the planning board, Mr. Mead, and the planning board's solicitor, please. Just for informational purposes, just to verify some information. Regarding the master plan, a planner is hired with with certain certificates and degrees in that scope.
That's
Is that-
correct, yes.
Is that accurate?
There's a professional planner that is hired to make sure that we are in compliance with what the county wants, the vision of the town, and in compliance with the state guidelines as well as the Mount Laurel doctrine and everything else.
During that process and thereafter, when a draft is completed, the planning board and/or planning board members would see that draft. Would that be accurate?
Would they what, I'm sorry?
They would see the draft?
So that draft comes to the planning board first.
Yes.
The planning board determines whether or not it's going to approve it. If it approves it, then it goes to the mayor and committee to adopt the ordinances which implement the master plan.
But when referencing Sicklerville specifically, is it accurate to say you were referencing the non-Pinelands master plan? Would that be accurate?
Right, non-Pinelands.
And the non-Pinelands master plan generally comprises of about 20% of the geographical makeup of Windsor Township. Would that
The
be accurate?
small acreage-wise, I'm not sure, but I mean, I could visualize that.
Because 80% of Windsor Township.
Windsor's 57 square.
Yeah, 50 square miles.
Square
So,
miles and.
Not
Sicklerville.
20% buildable, but it'd be a 20% geographic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 80% is in some type of Pineland zoning, which would be governed by a Pinelands master plan. Would that be accurate?
Right.
For a legal question, so the residents are informed and everybody is aware, a master plan is generally reviewed every 10 years.
Right.
Legally, how frequently can a master plan, non-Pinelands or Pinelands master plan, be reviewed if a municipality chose to do so? Is it bound by 10 years? Could it be reviewed every 5 years? Or is there a special situation where we could review it after 5 years or 7 years?
The municipal land use law says it has to be reviewed at least once every 10 years.
At least. So we reserve the right as a municipality, if we chose to review the master plan in less than 10 years. Would that be legally acceptable?
It's permissible.
So it is permissible. Now, next question, just for informational purposes. When the planner completes a draft, it's sent to the planning board for additional review. The planning board is essentially an advisory board. Would that be an accurate statement?
Well, normally, but the exception to that is the master plan.
Okay.
The planning board has exclusive jurisdiction to approve or disapprove the master plan. Now, once the planning board makes that decision, it can't, even if it approves something, it can't implement it
Correct.
without the ordinance. So the planning board has no power to adopt an ordinance, so ultimately it has to go to the mayor and committee to adopt or refuse to adopt the ordinance.
So the legal authority to adopt a master plan, Pinelands or non-Pinelands, falls under the authority and jurisdiction of the mayor and township committee.
No, that is
No.
not true. No.
To adopt
The master
The
plan,
ordinances, let me
the
clarify.
master plan is the blueprint
Yes.
for all your zoning
Yes.
over a broader area of land. Within the broader area are
adopt
zoning
it.
districts.
Yes,
Each
you adopt the
zoning
ordinances.
district is regulated by zoning ordinance.
Yes.
And that's what the
We-
township committee controls.
Let me clarify. So the governing body has to legally adopt by ordinance, local law, those zoning ordinance changes from that master plan that were to be sent to this governing body. So
Correct.
the-
You're not obligated to, but
Cor-
your ordinances are supposed to be consistent with the master plan.
Correct.
That's
So
the goal.
would it be accurate to say, for hypothetical situations, if a master plan is brought before us with zoning changes or zoning ordinance proposals, and this governing body were to accept, we would accept, if we were to reject, can you explain that process to the residents? If we were to reject,
Well, I mean, your role as the governing body is if there's an ordinance proposed, if it's inconsistent with the master plan, then the governing body has to provide valid reasons for rejecting the master plan.
Could you provide like a hypothetical of what would be a valid reason to reject a zoning ordinance change or not a zoning ordinance change? Or anything, just,
I'd say it's a heavy burden, because generally speaking, the master plan is a thoughtful document that makes a lot of more broad claims, but, an ordinance is subject, a zoning ordinance is subject to challenge if it is inconsistent with the master plan. Property owner may sue.
in regards to the planning board, the members of the planning board, how are they appointed? Because there are different classes, there are different
There's
classes.
different class
Correct.
members. There's two members of the governing body, a Class 1 and a Class 3. So there is representation from the Township Committee on the planning board. Then there's a Class 2 member who's basically a township employee. And then the remainder of the slots are filled by members who are Class 4 who are volunteers, who have to be township residents.
Those volunteers, under our current form of government or the way we currently operate, how are they put up, they apply to volunteer in order to be accepted? Are those appointments by the governing body and mayor, deputy mayor?
Usually the board member, if you're a Class 4, you have a 4-year term, and when your term's up, you either get reappointed, or the governing body, if they're looking to make a change for policy reasons, then they can select someone else to fill the seat.
That appointment, is that by the mayor and township committee or by the mayor? So,
Depends on the form of ordinance, but sometimes.
In Windsor Township.
Sometimes it's the mayor, sometimes it's the committee,
do you know,
depending on the form.
for Windsor Township's current form, do we have the ordinance available? Are we aware of that jurisdiction?
You do that at reorg, and then
Correct.
that's when you vote.
Yeah.
Things have changed at reorg, so I just want to make sure it's very clear, because residents have inquired on this. Is it the township committee, the mayor and township committee, or is it a mayoral appointment for planning board specifically? Because I know there's certain boards, the governing body collectively, we will appoint, and certain boards are under the mayoral appointment authority of our form of government.
I mean, there's different options. What I can tell you is I'm usually not at the January meetings when the
Correct.
appointments are, so I haven't looked at the ordinance to give it. I can't give you that.
That, could we get that?
Sure.
Could we get that information for next meeting for informational purposes?
No problem.
Thank you. And our planning board, the member, township committee member, who's a township committee member for the planning board for verification purposes?
So that's by state statute. That's just by state.
No, or governing body, who's our representative?
From the governing body?
Yeah, Chuck Flamini's
Mr.
on the
Flamini.
planning.
Thank you. I just wanted to validate.
And also the mayor sits
Yeah,
on the
well,
planning.
the mayor is, I understand. the
Yeah,
mayor is.
and the mayor has a designee.
Correct,
And
yeah.
that's all by state statute.
Correct. I just want to make sure with
Yeah.
the process and procedure, everybody is aware of how members get in a planning board, as a planning board does hold a lot of advisory and/or certain authority, and the governing body holds certain authority as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? Ms., please come up to the podium.
My name is Diane Biello, 15 Drexelgate Drive, Sicklerville. So I've just trying to understand this. With the new building a lot of the new building that's coming up in Sicklerville, and payment in lieu of taxes, then large amounts, we're talking millions, right, coming into Winslow. So everybody sees that as a good thing. And the money doesn't go to the county, so it comes to Winslow. But in other meetings, it's been said that the money does not go to the schools, to the police, to the fire. And I know I personally asked twice at one meeting last year. So we're never told where the money goes, millions of dollars. And it's really good that we're getting that, but where does it go? And how does it benefit the community?
Okay, thank you. Before,
Yeah, are we?
no, I'm getting ready to back up and open it up to public. May I have a motion to open public participation.
I just want to give the, our planning board folks, and especially the chairman and Chrissy, their props.
thank you very much.
You guys do an awesome job. Thank you so much.
Please come out.
Yeah.
So you all come out, you're gonna ask a question, I'd be like, man, why didn't I figure that? So it takes community involvement.
Thank you.
I've seen Tim, Mr. Mead, argue about what type of pollen a tree
Yeah.
makes to be
He's
better for the
expert.
residents of our town. So he's very detailed and granular.
Okay, let me keep going. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Was there a motion?
Yes, I had a motion and a second. All in favor?
I didn't hear.
Okay, before we start,
I didn't
Thank
hear.
you.
I don't
Let's
think
just do it
anybody.
again. He didn't hear it. Let's do it.
okay, may I have a motion to open public participation?
Motion.
Second, Committeeman Watkins.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public participation is open, but before we go into it, I want to take a minute and thank Christy, Tim, and Shirley for coming out here tonight, because we had to do this because there's so much misinformation. And when you got the right information, you can come to the conclusion that you need to come to. So thank you all for coming. Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, Mayor.
Okay. Now, has anyone signed up?
Thank you.
Or just pull the sheet out? We had Chris Williams. Oh, okay.
Two things. I believe it was the last meeting, you did an initial reading for an ordinance to stop the data centers from coming to Winslow Township. And I know there was some wording that went about, let's get it done. Tonight should have been the second reading, I
No.
thought. It's
No.
been 10 days.
No, next month. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay, that's a problem. But I saw the ordinances from West Acco with the speed, that was their second reading from last, and I thought that was, because keep on hearing rumors about data centers. And then the other thing, where we stand on, I keep on bringing this up, but I'm afraid of a great tax increase with trash. I was down dropping off my computer the other day at Public Works. I never get down there. I saw the new trash trucks. I'm hearing rumor of some used trash trucks. Hiring people, I noticed that was removed from the ordinance because it was there like a day or two ago. I just want to get a feeling of that because I hate to see taxes go up. And I'm hearing rumors I don't pay school taxes anymore, but what's going on? I'm hearing there might be a big jump in school taxes. Is taxes going to go up with this trash stuff? We're going to have to hire people, blah, blah, blah. You know where I'm going with it.
Okay, we'll respond to you when we close. Marcy Tomasello?
You want to do the trash?
I'll start it.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Marcy Tomasello from Elm. I think I'm very appropriate on the timing of this because I heard you say we want to slow things down, and that's why I'm here. A few months ago, Commissioner Nash attended a township meeting and told the residents that Camden County would be giving our township land in Cedar Brook and would be spending $5 million building the township a park. He also mentioned that once this park is finished, all maintenance and upkeep would be turned over to the township to provide. The maintenance on the park Commissioner Nash just described would be very extensive. At that meeting, I remember a resident commenting that rather than building a very expensive park in an already congested area, that the county could provide the money that the park would cost and have the township upgrade the 20 parks already in existence. The resident also mentioned that many of the smaller parks could benefit from this. Since our township is so large, it would be a wiser decision to improve the parks throughout the township so that the residents have a park near them that is upgraded and be more accessible to them for their use. This suggestion would also not require the township to maintain the large, extensive park being planned by the county, which would be very costly for the township to maintain and create more traffic on a highly traveled road, Route 73. I am further suggesting that since the county plans to give us this 80 acres, that they still do so and that be designated as open space so that it can remain in its current state. My questions to you tonight are, since the residents haven't heard of any action being taken to build this proposed park, since the commissioner was here, will the Township Committee accept the suggestions I proposed tonight and ask the county to consider these requests I am proposing? If so, when would the township notify the county? Number two, if the answer to my first question is no, could each member of the committee give me and the residents here the reason or reasons for your decision not to ask the county to do what would be better for our citizens? Thank you. I have the question.
Okay, is there anyone else that did not sign up that wishes to address the governing body? Seeing none and hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to close public participation.
Motion, Committeeman Walker.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The first one is Diane from Drexel. Oh, I'm sorry, I need Steve Dringas to make a presentation.
On the bond rating?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So, it's very important for us to be competitive in the bond and bond issuance market. And think of our bond rating as your personal FICO score. You want it to be as high as possible. So, because of a lot of different factors, one being the fact that we sold a lot of bonds last year, Standard & Poor's will come down and interview us, take a look at reports that they request to see, and they'll make an assessment. So a number of years ago, our bond rating was rated at AA-, and per their documents, it indicates a very strong capacity to meet its financial obligations and is considered to be of high investment grade quality and translates to competitive market rates for the issuance of bonds and notes in the future. So the fact that the economy has had issues since we last had our bond sale last year, Standard & Poor's is doing return or repeat interviews on a broader basis. Conducted those interviews and really kind of proud to say that we're still affirmed at AA-. So it really translates to us being more competitive in the bond market. It generally translates to more bidders and better rates and higher premiums on the sale of the bonds. And the premium is basically a cash bonus that they give us, and a lot of times we would use that to offset the cost of debt service when in our municipal budget. So it was, I guess, kind of a little coup for us that we maintained our bond rating in a very challenging economy. Oh, yes. So even though it's a separate function from planning and zoning and development and things of that nature, all of our functions do kind of intertwine with each other. They all dovetail. So from the Standard & Poor's report, and I'll quote, "The rating reflects in part our view that a tax base that has exhibited steady growth during the past several years due to a mix of multifamily residential and commercial developments. Property tax accounts for most of the Township General Fund revenue, and growth in value and steady increases in tax rate provide a strong revenue base. Winslow has seen overall stable financial performance and benefits from limited debt." Those are their words. So they like to see those things. It's a balancing act for us to grow smartly, as people have said. It's not part of my bailiwick, but it's all part of it. We're all intertwined. So the fact that we can develop, increase our tax base, they like to see that. So it's been a win-win with that, as far as the bond rating is concerned.
Mr. Dringus, could you explain where the money from a pilot program goes?
Yeah, so the name in and of itself distinguishes that it's a separate revenue from taxation. It's called a payment in lieu of taxes. So by budget law, we have to bring that as a separate revenue because it's not taxes. The assessed value of any improvements that are abated are not in the tax duplicate that is billed. So we bill that separately, and that money is anticipated in our general fund budget for whether it's a 5-year pilot for either residential or commercial, or in the case of Michael's long-term tax abatement, 30-year tax abatement. So we've, for almost as long as I've been here, which is over 20 years, we have anticipated revenue from those pilots, and it, like any other revenue, offsets the cost of increased costs and helps lessen the burden on taxpayers.
So it goes into paying for general fund, gasoline for whatever trucks, and maintenance in our maintenance department, and anything else that the township needs. That money is allocated per the budget that you're currently working on and will be presented to us at some point in the future. So it's not just a bucket of money sitting there.
No, not at all.
Go around.
No, it's an anticipated revenue, as we're required by statute to have a balanced budget, and that revenue is in there as an anticipated revenue to help balance that budget and offset whatever other revenues would have to have been increased to in the absence of those abatements.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question, CFO Dringus.
Yes.
And this may be a combination of the solicitor and/or the CFO. Regarding a pilot program, which is the acronym Payment in Lieu of Property Taxes, legally, do any of those funds legally have to be reallocated to the school district or the fire district?
No.
It's optional.
It's optional.
Not required. I believe 5% has to go to
For
county.
anything over and above a 5-year pilot, we're required to pay 5% to the county.
But we are now, under a pilot agreement that's past 5 years, a municipality is not legally required to provide any of those funds directly to the fire district if a municipality has a fire district and/or a school district. Would that be an accurate statement?
That's correct.
It's optional. And I mean, some of the thinking behind the pilot is the impacts and the services are needed within the municipality. So shouldn't the money be in the municipal budget rather than going to the county? I understand there's school impacts, but that's.
Yeah, I can't speak to why they included the county, but that's the way the law is written.
And this is not, it's at the direction of the governing body, the mayor and governing body. And the reason I bring this up, we have a growing community of residential units. And the fire district and their school district have to service those communities. So I understand the municipality, which we need financial support and funding. But providing or looking into significant pilot programs of over 5 years, of anywhere between 5 to 30 years, for mainly residential properties, I don't understand how that would benefit as a whole the township, because that puts the school district in a very tough position to possibly go out to referendum.
Can I answer that? You know, when a tax appeal is filed and the tax has to be refunded, you know that comes out of the municipal budget. The school still gets their money, the county still gets their money. So there are times the way the setup in government is, the municipality gets shortchanged because they're essentially the dealer playing Monopoly game, and they take the loss, they take the full hit for a successful tax appeal.
Correct.
This allows the municipality to recoup some of that lost cost that happens. It's not a complete fair sharing of revenues with taxation.
As I stated before, I can't speak to why they made the law inconsistent and included the county as a requirement. But here's the logistics behind the whole budget process. So when the school district comes in and they certify their tax levy, and I'm just going to use round numbers, and they say our levy is going to be certified at $55 million. county comes in and says, our levy is certified at $25 million. The fire district comes in and says, ours is going to be at $7 million. Those certified rates and levies are required to be paid to them to the penny. We basically get this, for lack of a better term, we get whatever's left over. We have to make sure that we make those collections. So they get 100% of their tax levy. We do not. So how it works is, when we determine how much we need in our budget for taxation to balance our budget, we have to factor in the fact that not everybody's going to pay. So let's say, for argument's sake, we have a 97% collection rate, which is pretty good. We have to, there's a line in our budget called Reserve for Uncollected Taxes. It's a statutory requirement. We have to budget for that. And what that Reserve for Uncollected Taxes is us raising the cash to pay for the people who, for whatever reason, can't pay their taxes. So everybody is paying for those other people to make sure that the county, the school, and the fire district get their 100% of the tax levy. And if we happen to make our anticipated tax level, then it works out. And as the solicitor had indicated, anything that's canceled, so, if there's any county appeals, totally disabled vets, whatever, it comes right off of our pot of money.
Just to recap, legally, the school district and fire district do not receive, are not legally bound to receive funds from a pilot program over 5 years.
Not legally bound.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gallup, we had Chris Williams on the data center.
The second question was for the data center. What we do is we introduced our ordinance, and it was passed on to the planning board. The planning board must review it and then send it back to the township, so it'll be on the agenda May 23rd, I believe, 21st? So it'll be on the agenda for May 21st.
So the data center ordinance is not going to be on the agenda this meeting, next meeting, but
21st.
3 meetings
That's
later.
the planning board meeting is the 21st. That's when we'll-
Our meeting would be the 26th. Okay, there you go. Yeah, we have to wait for the planning board. We had to send it over. It was only 2 days before, so in order for them to get a chance to review it, and then they send it back to us.
Have we ever, is that a legal obligation?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, whenever a zoning ordinance amendment is introduced, it has to be referred to the planning board, who are the experts in planning, to make recommendations back to the committee before they have their public hearing.
So my question would be, if we talked about introduction of ordinances and second reading of ordinances, the current ordinance that was introduced to oppose data centers, I personally believe had some flaws, some definition flaws, and some additional information that should have been included. Could we have, in a reasonable time frame, crafted a new ordinance for this meeting, introduced it, sent it to the planning board, and then approved that new ordinance by May 26th?
Well, I can't.
Legally speaking, just legally speaking.
I can't speak for what objections you may have posed to
No,
the ordinance.
it's a legal question.
Yep.
If we were to introduce an ordinance today, that, a zoning ordinance, as you indicated, if we were to introduce that today, April 28th, then we had another township committee meeting, then a planning board meeting, and then another township committee meeting, could we have legally introduced and adopted the second reading of said ordinance May 26th? Legally speaking, purely objective and not subjective regarding the topic.
Legally, yes, you could have.
So legally could have.
Yeah.
My question to the members of the governing body, why didn't we do that? And this is not for the professionals, because I understand you operate at our,
Let me go over this.
we relay things to you for certain opinions. Why did the members of the governing body not put forth this?
Well, I was not at the meeting.
This is
when it
not
was introduced.
this is not on you.
I can speak for myself.
Okay.
Respectfully, we had nothing. You wanted to table it, and you actually abstained.
Correct?
So now we have an ordinance that's going to the planning board, and then it's going to go for a second reading.
But you just proved the point. We could have crafted.
I didn't prove any point.
We could have crafted a better ordinance.
We don't know this one we have now is flawed, sir.
Have you?
You're assuming it's flawed.
Have you?
You're making a grand assumption.
It's not a grand assumption.
Again, so where's the flaw, sir?
Have you?
Where is the flaw?
Can I speak?
And
Can you answer? Where is the flaw?
Have you?
You're asking me a question to answer my question. Where is the flaw according to Brandon Glickman?
Yes.
And we did agree that if it needs to be amended, it can be amended.
No, I asked him a question. He hasn't given me an answer. Let your son talk.
Watch
Let
your
your
language,
elected
sir.
son talk.
Deputy Mayor.
He doesn't need his dad. Does Daddy want to take a seat? Does Daddy want to take a seat?
That's very.
No, you knock it off because he's out of line.
Deputy Mayor.
He's out of line. He doesn't get to talk to me when he feels like it to protect his son. My mom is not out here protecting me.
Deputy.
Yeah, I'll get my mom up here next time. She'll protect me next meeting.
Deputy Mayor.
Chicken fingers? Oh, really? Chicken fingers.
Point of order.
Okay. I know what you're about. Chicken fingers? Yeah, okay. No problem. No problem. No problem. He's out of order.
Every meet,
He can't just yell at me out from the crowd.
I am going.
I'm an elected official. He doesn't get to yell at me out of line because he doesn't like what I'm saying to his son.
I'm going to respond to.
He's already saying something's been a problem. Say what you want. He's saying what he wants. It's a free country. First Amendment. You say what you want. You say what you want. We know what you're about. We know exactly what you're about. You can keep that coded word out there. You're not going to say that coded word with me. Everybody in this room know what your coded word is about.
yes.
Public portion is closed.
I know your coded word. I know the coded word. Yeah, I know the coded word you're using, sir. I'm a 45-year-old man. I've been around the world twice. I know your coded words. I know your coded words.
Okay, all right.
I know your coded words.
Mayor,
You do what you want. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Let's close committee discussion.
Everybody in that crowd knows what you're saying.
I'm going to answer the next question.
Everybody else knows what you mean. Other people know what they mean.
Yeah.
Other people know what you mean.
Okay.
I asked him a question. He answered me with a question.
I was trying to complete my response.
I asked him a question first. Where's the answer to mine?
My answer is coming as I speak right now. I have reviewed multiple ordinances
Keep that
regarding
racist
data
stuff to yourself,
centers.
man. We know what he's about. I hear what he's about.
I have reviewed multiple ordinances referring to data centers, specifically the ones that were passed in Woodford Township, which I read at the previous meeting. I also attended and watched the passing of a Monroe ordinance. I reviewed an ordinance from Cumberland, Millville area. Upon reviewing those ordinances, I believe it's fair, if anybody will review those ordinances, two of them are on one side, or Woodford's touching Winslow, Monroe's touching Winslow. Woodford has Pineland Master Plan, Pineland zoning. Monroe has Pineland zoning, and we're passing two separate ordinances, a non-Pineland and a Pineland version of a data center ordinance. I review those. Have any other members going to review those to compare, to see some of the inconsistencies or additional information that should be included?
Wait, I spoke to Mr. Platt about this. The whereas clauses, first off, they have no.
Generators?
They have no legal import in the review or validity of the ordinance. The ordinance, the primary thing is the body of the language, which says they would be prohibited. It would be prohibited in the Pineland section and the non-Pineland section. And the definition of data centers in the ordinance is pretty comprehensive.
Have you reviewed the Monroe ordinance, sir?
Mr. Glickers, Mr. Glickers,
It's-
Mr. Glickers, please. At the last meeting, we discussed these AI, and we made the decision that we were going to introduce that ordinance because for all of you sitting out there, the understanding is the clock is ticking.
Correct.
And it was important that we get something in place. And if we have to go back and amend it, we're able to do that. That's what we did at the last meeting. And we have Mr. Platt here as our attorney. And we know you are not an attorney. So we don't need anything slipping through the cracks. That's what we pay him to do, to keep us out of harm's way.
I never indicated I was an attorney or an attorney at law at no point, so I just want to make that very clear for the record.
I mean, first off, there's a principle of zoning law that if a use is not permitted, it's prohibited. So by law, someone came in for a data center, they'd have to apply for a use variance anyway. It would have to go before the zoning board of adjustment. That's the first thing. The purpose of adopting the ordinance to prohibit the use is to make it abundantly clear to any judge who might be sitting on a legal challenge to know that the legislative will is Winslow Township does not want data centers. And that ordinance, in my legal opinion, would carry the day in any legal challenge.
When we adopt, the definition matters. Is that accurate? The definition of what we are prohibiting matters. Is that an accurate statement?
The definition of any use you regulate matters, yes.
Because when I've reviewed some of the definitions of other ordinances relative to this topic, they specified there's additional details included in those ordinances. And some residents brought some of those examples up that were not in our ordinance. So my question to you.
That sounds stylistic, because I've been doing zoning law for 30 years.
My question to you was in reference to the time frame. If we could have made a better ordinance and completed that ordinance in the same exact time frame, instead of passing it at the end of May and then having to amend it, if we could have just introduced another ordinance tonight, a more profound ordinance, we could have passed that ordinance at the same exact meeting, and it would not have required any additional time.
And that would have taken a lot more time.
Yeah.
And you just said that that Waterford and Monroe have adopted ordinances to ban AI centers. So where does that leave us? No ordinance, guess where they want to come next?
Yep.
Right in the middle.
Yep.
So the whole point was to get something on the books. If you want to postpone it another month, it means we got to pull back that first ordinance. It means that Mr. Platt's office has to craft a new ordinance to include the words that you want, but may not mean anything in the overall picture. So let's get the ordinance on the books.
Yep.
And if the possibility has to be, look at it again and add a the or an and or a whereas, we can do that. But as Mr.
Solicitor?
Norman. Yes, our solicitor has said, they've looked at it. They spent time to put the ordinance together. It's not like they just said, oh, let's throw something on the paper and go.
But by the way, the definition in the ordinance comes from ordinances in 3 other municipalities.
Can you name those 3 municipalities for me?
Mantua Township, Bass Rivers.
Currently, Mantua is looking to review or amend, I believe, but I'm not sure I have to review that, but.
Mantua Township and some municipality in Central Jersey.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I just want to apologize if you feel I came off the wrong way. I'll take it. Apology accepted, thank you.
Okay.
So regarding this topic, my suggestion.
You did that?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close discussion on this.
Yes.
We beat this to death.
Yeah,
So,
we've beat it for 2
my
weeks.
suggestion.
We have a motion and a second on the table. I call
Can
for
I
a
get a
vote.
motion to close the discussion?
Move to close the. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now.
If I move on to the trash?
Yes.
Oh, trash
And the
time.
parks. And Marcy, right now, just like with the jail, we're not going to tell them no. We need to get the information. Information is power. And we don't know what comes with the park. We know we have many sports teams here in the township that would love to have new fields to play on. Am I correct? Yes, you are. Okay. So I'm not going to ask anybody to commit to no. But we are going to get the information, which we don't have all the information. Commissioner Nash was here. He just gave us a quick overview. And right now, we don't know, other than there may be some cost involved, we don't know what it is. But you have to find out. We just can't sit up here and say no to everything that comes down the road. Thank you.
And I would suggest also, we will be having a meeting with the county and invite certain individuals, and any questions that are proposed, we will certainly ask. We will take those.
Have we received any additional information on that at all?
The only thing is that we will be asking for a meeting, because they want a meeting with their engineers, and what we will do is reach out to our park representatives from the committee, as well as the sports facilities, the leaders of the community who are in the sports organizations, and ask them to come to the meeting as well, to see what kind of needs that they would have as
Just
well.
to be clear, we haven't received anything from the county yet.
No, other than we're going to meet to discuss.
One additional question to that. Correct me if I'm mistaken. I believe in that meeting, we were informed this has been an ongoing process since the year 2021.
They've been wanting to give us a park, and they asked us what we would like, and what we told them we would love to have a sports complex that would service the entire community, as Gloucester Township has, Washington Township has. It would have Monroe has, if you let me finish, not only sports field, but also an area for the theater and things like that, or a concession stand, a whole all-encompassing area where everybody can go from different areas that they would like to
Did those discussions begin as indicated in the year 2021 at a previous meeting?
They reached out and said they wanted to do. They said, "What would you like?" And we gave them some ideas. But we will definitely have community stakeholders and governing body members present at those meetings when we do have them.
Regarding some of the comments I believe the commissioner made, or members of the governing body, I'm not sure who made it specifically. I think it was a commissioner, I'm not sure. But there was discussion about the money essentially being granted, or county money being utilized to construct this facility.
They will pay for the facility.
However, I believe I inquired who maintain, and I believe it was stated that we as a township maintain.
They would like us to, but we would certainly negotiate that, yes.
If we were to maintain that, would that no longer be a county park, but a township park? Or
No,
would
it
jurisdiction fall under?
would always be a county park, and we would have to have agreements in place, and we would never enter into those agreements until everybody is informed of what's going on.
Do you have any estimated timeframe of when discussions for that topic?
I know a meeting will probably be coming up soon. I don't have an exact date. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And let's get to the trash. And yes, as you know, the township is responsible for the collection of solid waste, recyclables, and the disposal, as well as yard waste and bulk trash. And we had a 5-year contract that was up for bid at the end of last year. And approximately, we paid last year, approximately around $4 million for that contract. At all the bids that came in this year were up to $7 million. So right there was a 50% increase from previous. And then the question was, do we want, a tax increase if we, end up buying trucks and things like that? The tax increase would occur if we awarded the contracts. So what we did, we went through, we rejected the bids, we put the rebid everything out into portions, because we say, oh, maybe if we did just the bulk and the yard waste and, some other things that we could try and tweak. We actually wanted to bid it out by zones, but the public contracts laws, the comptroller said we were not permitted to separate the bids like that, because it would be awarding bids, to different people. And even though we believed the competition was there and would have been the appropriate thing to do, the comptroller's office said, we couldn't do it that way. So we did receive bids back by doing the bulk and the vegetative waste. We had our emergency contract in place as well for 6 months, and we were trying to, make the numbers work to make sure that that the township would not experience a large tax increase. And at that point, we were unable to do that. So we did a cost analysis, which Mr. Dringus has too, that what it would cost to, of course, we would purchase, the 7 sidearm trucks, the 4 rear loaders, and we would offer the Public Works CDL drivers a first dibs at actually driving the trucks, which would give them, a pay increase. We would include all the costs associated with that, and then we would backfill the actual, with laborers, entry-level positions to fill those positions that are vacated by current employees. Now, if there weren't not enough people, I think, and again, somebody asked about pulling that one thing off tonight. And yes, the reason why I did remove it it was to advertise, to hire truck drivers, because we didn't have a handle on exactly how many people in Public Works were interested, and I think we have a number today. We are up to 6, so then we would hire truck drivers and a few of the laborers to make that balance work. So what we will be doing, and I think our contract expires, emergency contract expires at the end of June, and hopefully what we're working on now to get people hired and to get the trucks in, to make sure that we would save the taxpayers a lot of money. But actually, we did a cost analysis, and Mr. Dringus will explain exactly how much in the next few years we'll be able to save and not increase the taxes, because we're going to be doing it in-house.
This is a lot to ask. Is it possible with our trash situation, could CFO Dringus and yourself, Administrator Gallagher, is it possible you could put maybe a short presentation regarding that? Because it is a big topic. I'm not sure other members have got. I got a lot of questions about it.
Yes.
Just to understand the.
Yes, we do, and we do plan to do that at our budget presentation.
Okay.
We'll have the slides up on the screen and everything, and we do have the numbers right now that Mr. Dringus can explain.
So just a little background on how the budget works and where we ended up where we are. So the state allows us to increase our operating portion of our budget, and they refer to as inside the cap and outside the cap. So all of our salaries, the running of the clerk's department, running of public works, running of the police department, that all is considered operations that's inside the cap. And generally, those are expenditures that we can control. Things outside the cap are primarily debt service, the reserve fund collected taxes that I mentioned before, grants fall outside the cap. So those things aren't included in the calculation. So generally, we're allowed to increase our inside the cap appropriations by 3.5%, which translates to, again, round numbers, $1.5 million. The bid that came in for waste management as the low bid came in $2.1 million over and above last year's number. So right off the bat, we would have no room to handle any of the other increases in costs that are across the board, not just in New Jersey, not just in Winslow, but nationwide. So we were hamstrung. We would be $500,000 over the cap. At that point, you have to go out to a referendum to exceed the cap, and that's where the tax increase would come from. So for 2026, we're kind of locked into the 6-month extension because we had to collect trash. There's no two ways about it. So there will be a moderate increase in what we have to budget for the collection of trash for that half a year, because the Waste Management's emergency contract, or contract extension, is at the new rates. They didn't extend it from last year's rates. So the bid that came in close to $7 million is what they've basically said, well, you're going to pay half of that for 6 months. So that's why we got the trucks for the yard waste and the bulk early, so that we can take that off the board and save some money there. The real savings is going to come in 2027 forward. And based on all of our estimates, which we've painstakingly spent months trying to analyze every aspect of this, we left no stones unturned. We estimate that it's going to cost us $3 million less to collect and dispose of trash. In round numbers, obviously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome.
Okay. Before I ask for the closing prayer, are there any other comments from any governing body members? If not, Ms. Doherty, can we have the closing prayer?
Just one minor comment. Just with the data center ordinance, I just want to see the best ordinance put forward in the quickest amount of time. And the fact that we could have reviewed it and put that ordinance back on its agenda and still completed it in the same exact time frame, I don't see how there's a negative to that. I see that only as a positive for the entire township.
There's a
That's-
counter-argument to that.
That's all I have to
It's called-
say,
it-
Solicitor,
It-
right,
it's
for my
someti-
public
it's-
comments.
It's called the perfect being the enemy of the good. When you don't get something done because you want to put a nail, a pin on the head of a needle, you don't get anything done. That's the problem.
I understand your philosophical statement, but again, I didn't say something perfect. I said improve upon in the same time frame, and we could amend it at a later date, but I just wanted to put forth a better ordinance. That's all, and we could have done, that's all.
Ms.
But you
Doherty,
failed
can we
to
have the
say
closing
where
prayer,
the
please?
current ordinance is flawed. I'll ask you a question, sir.
If
What
you-
is
if you-
wrong
if you
with the
compare-
current ordinance?
If you compare multiple definitions, you will see.
No, I'm asking you, sir. You said you read them.
Review the generator aspect of it.
No, sir, you can't tell me, give me
I just-
instruction. I'm asking you a question. What
answered
does
the question.
Committeeman Glickis see wrong
Review the
with
generation aspect of the definition.
Okay, no problem.
Can we have the closing prayer, please, Ms. Doherty?
At the close of this meeting, we pause again, O God, to give thanks for living in a nation where people have the privilege to govern their own affairs. May decisions made this evening be ones that make our township a better place in which to live. Amen.
Amen. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.